Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tell Me More, a hospitality data podcast. As the show's devout listeners may have already guessed, I am not Stephanie Ricca, your usual co-host. I am, in fact, Natalie Harms, filling in today for my boss. But have no fear, STR's Isaac Collazo and CoStar's Jan Freitag are still here. Hi, guys. Thanks for letting me co-host with you.
Hey, Natalie, what happened to Steph?
Our pleasure, Natalie. Welcome.
Steph is enjoying a very well-deserved vacation, so happy to fill in while she's out. I may be new to co-hosting the show, but as a reporter for CoStar News Hotels, I contribute to CoStar News Hotels podcast regularly, so I'm definitely familiar with yapping about the hotel business. So we're just going to go ahead and dive in. Like every episode, we're going to start with the data, going over September numbers and the first 3 quarters of the year. However, Jan and Isaac have promised to keep it relatively brief this time because we have a special guest later on the show. Back by popular demand is Brandon Ehrhardt, Vice President of Supply Marketing at Expedia Group, who joined Tell Me More last October too. And some listeners may remember that. He will again join the podcast to talk about Expedia Group's Unpack 2026 predictions of travel trends around the world for the coming year. So stay tuned for that. But to begin, let's look at the September hotel performance data. Isaac, I'm going to turn it over to you to kick things off today.
Great, Natalie, and welcome. We kind of missed Steph, but yay, I like you, Natalie. That'd be great. We can keep you on.
I will do my best to fill her
all right.
shoes.
Well, that's the end of the fun with the podcast because we're going to talk about September. That wasn't fun. It wasn't great, right? So as many of you probably already heard, September U.S. RevPAR dropped 2.1% on declining occupancy and flat ADR. RevPAR has fallen for 6 consecutive months, with this month's decrease the largest of the 6 and the largest monthly drop in a non-recessionary period, excluding the pandemic. With the decrease, year-to-date RevPAR retreated to 0% from 0.2% a month ago. And it really is slightly negative 0 if you looked at the real numbers, because it's like minus 0.5%. So it's slightly negative. Occupancy has fallen for 7 consecutive months and has only increased 8 times since April 2023. That's an amazing number, I thought. And this is only the second time that ADR has decreased since the end of the pandemic. The previous time happened this year as well, which was in July. So we've seen July and now September with negative ADR. And giving you some perspective, in September, 76% of submarkets reported ADR growth below the rate of inflation, with 351 of the 691 seeing declines. So that's also an important piece. So, it's different. It wasn't a great September, as you can tell. And for the year, 41% of submarkets have seen ADR decline. And that truly is the most outside of an economic recession and the pandemic. Looking at some of the top 25 markets, the top 25 was responsible for the RevPAR decrease this month. They fell by 3.8%. And no, it wasn't just all Las Vegas. While Las Vegas was down 11.7%, and Las Vegas alone accounted for 100 basis points of the U.S. RevPAR decline, other markets that contributed were significant, including Houston, which saw a 14.8% decline, New Orleans, Anaheim, and D.C. In total, 19 of the top 25 markets posted a September RevPAR decrease. And then outside of the top 25 markets, RevPAR was down 0.5%. And so for the year, RevPAR in the top 25 markets is up 0.4% versus a decrease, in the non-top 25 markets is up 0.4% versus a decrease of minus 0.5% in the top 25 markets. So yeah, it wasn't great, right, Jan? What do you think?
I have no further comment.
Oh, God.
The Vegas data, that's super scary, right? Because that speaks to lack of leisure travel, lack of corporate group demand. DC, first 10 days of this month of October, down 4.4% because of the government shutdown. That's going to continue to have ripple effect through the American travel economy as fewer people are traveling to other destinations that have government installations, or those government travelers are not on the road. And the people who don't get paid by the government, obviously, they're spending $0 on any getaways. So none of that is good news. And to add to that, Isaac mentioned 6 months to 2 consecutive quarters of RevPAR decline. Heads up, Q4 has the tough comp we've been talking about. So very high likelihood that that the fourth quarter will also see deceleration in RevPAR. Yeah.
Yeah, but the good news is right now, the first 2 weeks of October have been very, very strong. So yes, it's September was really, really weak. We saw that coming, but so far October has been strong. Obviously, the first 2 weeks didn't really have the impact of the government shutdown, which we may see materialize in the week ending October 18th. So October, I think, will be better, not more positive. Let's just say better than September. But I'm really more worried about November and December because I can't get a feel for that at this point. So I think I agree with you, Jan, that the fourth quarter could be another down quarter for RevPAR, depending on how November and December materialize.
And the continued positive sign, if you want to call it that, group room rates continue to be quite positive. September group ADR up over 3%, 3.2%. That's the sixth consecutive month of ADR growth. Call it at the level of inflation, maybe a little bit above that. But group demand continues to fall. So there's this interesting juxtaposition between demand down and ADR up. One of them has to give eventually, and I'm afraid it's going to be ADR. But for now, that looks like a pretty healthy performance on the group ADR side.
And to give some numbers to that context, you're right. In September, group in luxury and upper upscale class hotels fell 4.7%. For the year, group demand is down 1.7%. And so, yeah, it was a very weak month for groups. And again, even looking at the year-to-date numbers, we're still below where we were a year ago, and certainly well below where we were in 2019 from a group in terms of demand overall.
And all of that speaks to the continued uncertainty with the on again, off again, on again, off again tariffs. The hope is that next year, as the tariffs are digested or ingested into the U.S. economy, that people will have better visibility into their cost structure. Fortune 1000 companies will have better visibility into their cost structure. And that then means that they can say, okay, now we can plan more. We will send more people out on the road. That's the hope anyways.
But the uncertainty, Jan, which is really cool, you picked up on that word, is only here in the U.S. Because when I look at the global RevPAR numbers for September, it increased 3.1%. It was the strongest RevPAR gain globally, excluding the U.S., since May. And it all came on ADR of 2.7. Japan, Middle East, Africa, and India were all seeing double-digit RevPAR gains. And those three countries alone contributed 100 basis points to the global RevPAR number. But hey, let's not stop there. UK, Italy, and Australia, RevPAR was up 5%, with Spain and Canada almost at 5% RevPAR gain for September. So again, I think, the rest of the world's doing pretty well. Global year-to-date RevPAR up 2.7%, on ADR 3.1%. So it is, again, that uncertainty is right here in the States, where we continue to see the impact of the changing environment.
Yeah, well, that is keeping it brief. I guess we can keep it brief when it's not so happy news and data.
Yeah, we can go on, but we'll get depressed. And then Jan and I will have to, I don't know what we'll do, Jan. We'll have to just go find ML Rose or something.
I mean, we're looking for the diamonds in the rough. There's just a lot of rough out here. So we can continue to talk for another 20 minutes about which markets aren't doing well, which classes aren't doing well. Luxury still continues to outperform, but everybody else is not. So it's sort of the same story, different perspectives, but the story is what, as Isaac said, it's slowing or deceleration.
Right. And so again, October will be better. So I promise you, just based on the first 2 weeks. But beyond that, we'll just have to wait and see.
As promised at the top of the episode, we're going to veer from our typical agenda this month to introduce our now annual special October guest, Brandon Ehrhardt from Expedia Group. Hi, Brandon.
Hello. It feels incredible to be a recurring guest. I will add this to my LinkedIn profile. It is my career highlight. Have been looking forward to this one for a couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to diving into Unpack with you all.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna change the vibe of this episode with some of that data pessimism, and now we're gonna talk about some happy trends, right?
I've got nothing but optimism. So I was obviously on the call for the first data, and it is an interesting period of time to be in travel, but I think there's always opportunity, right? So we talked about finding the diamonds in the rough. Hopefully, we'll help you find some of those. If you're a hotelier or vacation rental owner, we got some great insights for you coming up.
Well, Brandon heads up supply marketing at Expedia Group. He leads a lot of strategic initiatives and programs for Expedia Group, which, as you all know, is an online travel agency and travel technology company that includes Expedia, Hotels.com, Vrbo, and a robust B2B network. So, as we mentioned, listeners will remember Brandon from last year, who joined us in October, and it was a huge hit. So, we've got to do it again. Earlier this month, Expedia Group released its Unpack 26 report, which does just that. It unpacks the big picture trends driving leisure travel around the world, what motivates travelers, the types of places they want to go, and experiences they want to have. And the report gives us some great suggestions of specific places to book too. So before we kind of dive into the trends we all want to talk about, Brandon, can you give us a quick overview on this report from Expedia Group?
Yes. So this is not just us sitting in a room throwing darts at a board. 4 years we've been doing this now. 24,000 people that we went and surveyed for this year's results. We also do social listening. Those 24,000 people come from 18 different countries. So it's a pretty dispersed audience. We also have 70 petabytes of first-party data. I don't even know what a petabyte is. Jan probably does.
Like a lot.
Yeah, Jan's like, give me all that first-party data, and I'll give you some revenue insight.
How much is that on a floppy disk?
Yeah, it's a couple.
Oh God.
Discs. Yeah, I have a floppy disk that was not on my bingo card for coming up today. But Isaac,
I know. I have to deal with this every day, Brandon. Every day.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, but I do appreciate it.
Moving on.
So I think in addition to the methodology of the survey, there's one other thing I want to hit that we included this year, and that is a partnership with the WTTC for the Smart Traveler Health Check. And I know this hits home for both Jan and Isaac and your audiences. We got to be stewards for the travel industry. And that means, being aware of over-tourism, being aware how we can impact the community. So this new Smart Travel Health Check, it covers 6 principles, but essentially is given to destinations where we feel there's strong community empowerment, there's transparent reinvestment of these tourism dollars, because at the end of the day, we need to protect the local environments from over-tourism, and we want to empower and grow these communities. So that's a nice additional dimension that we added this year, and there were a handful of different destinations a year that also achieved this award. So we're going to get into all the trends today, and I don't want to take away too much of the firepower from Natalie. But Natalie, are you ready to jump in?
Yeah, I really am. And of course, we're not going to get to talk about every single trend. There are a lot, and we're going to link to the report where people can really click and scroll around on the online interface, which I really liked doing. It looks amazing, and it's really fun to kind of zoom in and click around. So we are going to talk about the ones that are most interesting to us. And I think there is a through line I've kind of observed. It looks like travelers are really chasing meaning in their trips. So I think we're going to explore that a little bit more, but we're going to start with the trend you call the hotel hop, which I think I've done before. But before we dive in, can you tell us what this trend is?
Yes, the hotel hop. The hotel hop is someone who books a hotel in a destination and then changes hotel in that same destination roughly. And the number of people who are interested in this continues to grow. So 54% of surveyed respondents are interested in this type of trip. I think there's a particular trip, right, that this speaks to. Generally, if you go to the beach, you're going to stay at the same property, right, the entire week. But if you're an urban explorer, I think the hotel hop is a great way to see new destinations. And I'm going to call this one the rise of the neighborhood hotel. So I'm in Chicago. I'll use a Chicago example here. If I was, visiting the city, staying maybe at the Viceroy Chicago, you're going to get a particular flavor of the city, and it's going to be a great one. But potentially you expand your horizons, maybe stay at the Hotel Lincoln in the Lincoln Park neighborhood, or even go to the north suburbs, stay at the Forester in Lake Forest, and you have this opportunity to see different parts of a destination. And I think that's really important for our hoteliers and our vacation rental hosts in this industry to understand, because number one, it's an opportunity for the traveler to see another neighborhood. And that's the number one reason that they're really hotel hopping, is they want to experience a different part of the city. The second piece, and why I call it the rise of the neighborhood hotel, is there's a great opportunity to attract this traveler. So if you think about a compressed event, and I'll stay in Chicago, I think last weekend we had the Chicago Marathon in incredibly compressed time. If you're going to stay downtown, you're going to be in the marathon. Well, if you didn't know the marathon was happening, maybe you do not want to be downtown because it is kind of challenging to get around. Perhaps you want to go to, the north side of Chicago, like in the Lake Forest, or another part of the city where you're not going to be, amongst the marathon. And whether it's you're avoiding a compressed event or you're just looking for a great deal, hoteliers have an opportunity to woo that traveler with a very personalized package that understands who they are. So the more hoteliers understand that people actually are willing to pack up their things and move to a new hotel, is actually a pretty good insight. I have to ask, though, Natalie, Jan, Isaac, do you guys do this one? Do you see it in the CoStar data at all?
Can't see it in the data per se, obviously, because we don't have it. We don't know the traveler. Obviously, we can see the number of stays in a particular hotel, but we don't see a traveler per se. So we can't track a traveler. We're tracking hotels, not the travelers. But I think it's going back. Have we done it before? Of course, because many of us have been into cities for a convention and a meeting, and you're at a more traditional hotel, and then your partner comes in and you want to do something more fun and more localized. So yeah, I had never thought about it as hotel hopping. It was more like, hey, let's leave the big corporate hotel and go to something more intimate and more just fun. And so yeah, definitely have done that before, and in Chicago as well.
There we go.
Yeah, I would have actually flipped it and said, okay, maybe this blends into the multi-generational travel, right? Where the in-laws get their kids and the grandkids together in a Vrbo, and then let the parents take a night away, in a hotel and say, hey, we got the kids tonight. You go off and be adults and, go to the nice restaurants and stay in a nice hotel downtown.
I'm going to clip this and send it to my parents. So thank you.
Yeah, I definitely see this on the bleisure side that Isaac was talking about, but I've done it in another way. I think I've tacked on just a night's stay. I live in Houston, and I drove up to Texas wine country, and we drove up Thursday night. And so rather than extend our weekend reservation, we just stayed overnight at a local place just to we're going to be asleep the whole time anyways. So that kind of way to make things a little bit budget friendly. I saw that's a part of the hotel hop experience. So yeah, I've totally done this before recently.
Well, that's a perfect segue, Natalie. Talking about Texas wine country. So one of the other trends, Brandon, has to do with farm charm. I see that title and I'm thinking Glastonbury, but I think you're thinking something different, right? We're not talking the Glastonbury charm of living in a tent and going to a music festival, or are we talking about that?
Oh gosh, Isaac, I think the closest you're going to get to a tent and a music festival is the VIP tent.
Exactly right. There's no tent.
I know you well.
I stay at the Camp Intercontinental. It's very nice. Yes. They have a bar.
Room service.
They have room service. It's a very nice place.
Yes. So let's talk farm charm. Let's talk farm charm and readaways. It's really interesting. And Natalie, you hit on this. There is this thread throughout the trends where people are really looking to relax, potentially unplug, maybe a little bit of an escape fantasy, right? So we'll start with farm charm. Farm charm, 300% spike in interest from our searches. Most folks are looking for nature. Animals are two things that were signaled by the respondents to the survey, things that they're looking to experience when they have a farm charm type stay. I actually did this recently. It's always nice because you can tie these to your own personal trips. I went to a 70th birthday party at Berrywood Farms, which is a nice Vrbo in Michigan. And it was incredible. It's not something that I ever would have picked first, but now that I've experienced it, I was like, okay, this is great. There was a pool, there was a pond you could go canoeing in. My son actually tipped the canoe over and was covered in mud. Family memories for a lifetime. Yeah, it was excellent. He was not super thrilled, but it was pretty good.
And you got the pictures to show on his 18th birthday, on his wedding. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I think the piece with farm charm is it's really about kind of connecting with nature and just taking a step away from the busyness of the day. And that really leads me to readaways as well. So readaways is another trend, and it's about really finding a vacation rental spot to just completely free your mind and to read a book. So I've got to ask smart people here on this call, are we reading anything cool that we'd want to go and rent a Verbo and cuddle up in a book nook?
Always.
There's always
What are
great
we
books to read. So
Yeah,
I'm-
Isaac, go ahead.
I'm reading right now What We Can Know with Ian McEwan, which just came out. So that's what and then I'm also at the same time reading The Covenant of Water by Verghese. And so I like that book. That's a great book. I like this first book, and this is another great book. But I don't want to go to a hotel to relax. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think there is something wrong with me. Like, I'm going to connect with drums. I want to connect with guitars. I want to connect with life. And so I read a lot, but I also don't know if I can go for a peaceful vacation. I think I'd go crazy. So I know does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't.
No,
It doesn't.
I would go crazy. And I don't need to see a cow. I've heard, my funniest experience was at a wedding. We were staying at a friend's place on a farm. And I was reading the New York Times with cows mooing out my window. I thought that was interesting because it was a juxtaposition. It was in Texas, Natalie. Of course, it has to be in Texas, right? And I go, wow, I've never read the New York Times with cows mooing outside my window.
And then you shut the window, right?
I shut the window. Yes, there's a whole other story to that one, but it was crazy. But yes, it was hot as heck. But yes, I shut the window. So no, I don't know if I could do Farm Charm or readaways.
Natalie, I think you could.
I know. I was going to say, when I originally thought of Farm Charm, I did not think that would have any interest to me. But now that you've explained it, I'm like, yes, absolutely. I picked destinations based off where there's some good outdoors connection. I mean, like, I'm in Texas. There's no fall here yet. So if I were to go somewhere right now, I would be picking somewhere where I could go apple picking and drinking cider. But I have 100% done multiple readaways where my favorite example is going to Cancun, which is just a short flight away in the summer with some friends or late spring. And all I want is a really great all-inclusive resort and a pile of books and to disconnect in that way. So that's for sure something I've done and will do absolutely again.
I do read on vacations, just FYI. Just want people to know, I do read on vacations.
Which wine to order.
With a glass of wine, exactly.
There's nothing like reading on vacation. I swear by it.
I mean, if I know Isaac at all, where he dines, the wine list is probably more book-like than a menu-like.
Exactly. It is. This is...
When I read the whole document, the whole PDF of the trends, I was like, oh my God, last week, like this almost fits our family vacation to a T. So we were in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, in a Verbo next to a river that was cresting. Unfortunately, that huge flooding. But we had our 7-year-old for the first time harvested potatoes. And so he was in the dirt grabbing the potato, and he loved all of it. And we had that for dinner. And, because it was a family vacation, I'm 1,000 pages into the Broken Earth trilogy, Jemison's sort of classic science fiction story, which it's a lot to take in. But hey, we were on vacation, so I really enjoy that book right now.
I'm going to just say it. We're like 3 trends in, and they have all resonated, and we've all taken personal trips. So I think we're onto something.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one thing I think about too with this readaway and even Farm Charm, I mean, there are opportunities for hotels and kind of playing to these types of destination seekers. I'm curious, Jan and Isaac, do you have any kind of thoughts on the opportunities for hotels and those trends?
Yeah, it's multiple. I actually see lots of opportunity in that side. I am being a little facetious, and yes, I do like peace every once in a while, but I do think it's an interesting experiences, and we've talked about this on this podcast before. Experiences are what people truly desire, and we all do. It's not new. You want to be able to say, "Hey, guess what I just did last week?" or "Guess what we experienced?" Talking about getting, flipping the canoe. You have pictures of that, getting the potatoes for you, your child, Jan. But I think that's what we want. And we want that connection. And you want to connect to something that is just different that from your ordinary life. And so even with the music festivals and everything I do, there's a connection there that you leave and you go, wow, that was really cool. Might have been tiring, may not be as peaceful as just having wine and reading a book, but there's a connection and experience that you talk about and remember for a long time. And I think hoteliers, as long as you don't forget that, people are looking for that meaning, for that connection, and the connection on multiple sides, either with people, events, places, experience, that you just got to understand it and make it authentic. Is that you do want an authentic experience. You don't want something that was just manufactured per se.
Yeah, I think on the farm charm side, I think this idea of farm to table, right? How can you involve the guest in, I don't know, seeing where the bees make the honey on the rooftop of the property,
right.
Or is there an herb garden where, I mean, some super high-end restaurants, right? You give guests a little pair of scissors and they go out and cut their own herbs. Like, what's the connectivity between nature? Because we're so glued to our screens all the time. How can we connect nature to the hotel experience, to the dining experience, and then on the read away trend, this idea of having sitting areas in the lobby, a little bit maybe away, maybe with a bar next door, but also a huge array of books or games that connects either you to thinking about nothing or connects you to your fellow travelers or to your family to play a board game or something which you don't have time when you're at home. I think all of those trends together just go back to what Isaac said, which is connectivity and authenticity.
I think it's interesting, the design elements you just mentioned, Jan, because I find a lot of times in a hotel room, you don't have that comfy chair. It's either a work chair or it's a chair that just, it looks nice, but it's not comfy, right? You've all been there. I mean, I would just pick, it's like, wow, I want to read. So I'm like, Natalie, I want to sit down and read, relax for a few minutes, but you just can't get comfortable. You're fidgeting. So I think there's a lot of design elements that have to be considered. And then the last thing, you're picking up on something you said that reminded me, the best experience always have a story with it. And that's that storytelling, even with the dining piece. Back in the day before the Inn at the Meadowwood in Napa, when you ate there, they bring you the box of everything they're going to cook for you, but it's just so artfully done. It's just the story behind it. Whether you had everything there, who knows? But it was that storytelling. This is what we got out of the fields. Our farmers brought this, and they bring it all to life in the culinary experience. That's just amazing. That was amazing. So,
speaking of storytelling on the big screen, Natalie, what's the next trend?
Oh, yeah. The next trend is set jetting, which, is not necessarily new, but it just keeps growing. Right, Brandon? Tell us about set jetting.
It's a mainstay. I laughingly joke about the first time I saw this term, and I sent it back to the producer at the time and said, I think you have a typo. And she's like, no, I think you need to catch up with the trends. So it's an $8 billion a year industry. This is the Gen Z and millennial sweet spot. 81% of those travelers in those demographics are looking for inspiration on the silver screen or the TV screen, and then traveling. So this year, a couple new shows popped up. I'm interested in hearing if you guys have seen anything interesting, but Nobody Wants This, great show on Netflix in LA. Yorkshire Crossing the Pond over in the UK. We have Wuthering Heights, and I think Downton Abbey was, or Downton Abbey, I think is how you pronounce that, is filmed their finale in Yorkshire. Personally, this didn't make our list, but I just saw this show and I had to bring it up. Bad Sisters on Apple TV. It's filmed in Ireland. Place called Sandy Cove. If you watch this show, Bad Sisters, 1, it's quite a funny murder mystery. And 2, the scenery in Ireland is incredible. So that's going to be my show recommendation and my destination recommendation. But tell me, what are you guys feeling inspired by on the screen?
I mean, again, White Lotus always has the most amazing sets. I know it's right up my alley.
5-star guy.
It's right up my alley. It's like that's where I belong, Jan. What happened? How am I here? But thinking about set jetting, I was thinking about this, Brandon, and again, for me, growing up, I was already into it before there was a term, right? I think all of us were. I mean, again, we have terms now, but we didn't know what it was. My biggest thrill, and I wanted to do this, is to have my butler or my driver drive me through the park, because when I watched Arthur and just let's go to the park, right? And then when I first walked into Brooks Brothers, like, oh my God, this is Brooks Brothers, or any of the big stores in New York, which you had already seen on TV. You knew New York because it was in every major show, every major movie, and just the glamour of New York at the time. That was my first set jetting. And I just remember trying to rewalk all those steps and think of what it'd be like to have my driver drive me through the park. Can you do that, Jan, for me? Can you take care of me?
I have my people call your people.
Okay.
I mean, to me, set jetting, let's keep this really close to home, man. 911 Nashville is filming as we speak.
Right.
The pilot episode just aired. By the way, we don't have tornadoes every weekend here. Just heads up if you watch that show. This is not a common occurrence. And by the way, we don't call them twisters, we call them tornadoes. But anyhow, there was a lot going on in that first pilot episode. And people are like, is this really what's going on in Nashville? It's like, well, it can, I guess. But anyway, so that's the local shout out.
Are we shooting this show in Nashville?
Yep.
Is it being
absolutely.
shot? Okay.
When
are you guys gonna get a featured role? I mean, you are award-winning podcasters.
Jan kind of calls me a tornado and like I create destruction wherever I go. So I don't know, Brandon. They may not let me.
But they have what's called base camp. So I take the bus to work, and when I drive by, there's a huge parking lot that they rented, what they call base camp, and all the trailers are there, and the fire trucks are there. I mean, the fake fire trucks are there, and helicopters overhead. Like, it's a real thing. So it's sort of fun to watch.
But wait a minute. You take the bus to work. What happened to the rolls?
Your driver ruined it.
Yeah, Isaac, your driver. You got to pay your driver more.
I know. It's like, what happened? What happened, Jan?
So
Well, I have one that isn't on the report, but I want to throw in. It's The Perfect Couple, which was a Netflix show, and it's set in Nantucket, which it's based off of a book. And so I'm bringing it back to books. No one's surprised. But Ellen Hildebrand is one of my favorite authors, and all of her books are set in Nantucket, and a bunch of them are getting made into movies and TV shows right now. And The Perfect Couple was the first one. So everyone is about to fall in love with Nantucket, just like I have through the pages, but now they're going to get to do it on their screens. So that's really cool.
Natalie, have you been to Nantucket?
I did. I went this summer for the first time, and it was like stepping into an Ellen Hildebrand novel. It was amazing.
I take it you did not go to the chicken box then.
I absolutely went to the chicken box. That is also in the books. I was.
Oh, so this is okay. When you said, I was thinking it was more like, highbrow, but it sounds like this book is a bit of fun as well.
I did not last very long in the chicken box. I was I kind of skewed the age of the groups there a little too high. Yeah. So there were a lot of young people, and I was like, okay, this is great. I'm gonna leave now.
You got your experience, and then
I did. I checked the box. I paid. I paid the cover, took a look around, and then left.
I take the chicken box is a bar.
It's a bar with live music, and it's wood floors, sand on the floors. Yes,
it's messy.
It's messy. Okay.
It's an experience.
Honestly, thought you
no
said
chickens
the
are
first
involved.
3 times chicken pox, and I'm like, that is such a weird name for a bar.
What a weird bar.
They just call it the box. The locals just call it the box.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's funny.
That's funny. Well, speaking of locals, let's go a little bit further up north and talk about our Canadian friends and see what they are up to. Brandon, you have a couple of interesting research topics up there. Isaac mentioned in the opening about the data. So the Canadian RevPAR performance this year has been through the roof, comparatively speaking, to the United States. So RevPAR year to date up 4.7% versus US, what was that number? 0? So anyhow, Canadian hotel industry seems to be doing quite well. Brandon, give us a little bit of insights into Canada.
Yeah, there's a couple different threads to tug at here. First one, I'm going to give you guys a destination to check out. It's called Ukluit. The locals call it Yuki. There's an awesome property there called the Water's Edge if you're heading there, but it's a great place to, again, go and kind of escape the bustle of the big city. It's more of a destination where you can experience, obviously, the water and nature. But Canada is really there's so many opportunities in Canada. Like, what a cool country. You can go to a place like Toronto and get the big city feel. You can also go venture to Alberta or Manitoba and watch some curling. So we're going to talk a little bit about the fan voyage in a bit, but I would be remiss to not mention curling as one of the draws of sports tourism to Canada. So whether you're going to a big city or going to a sporting event or you're going to a place like Yuki, we've seen Canada really pop. So Ucluit is our number 7 trending destination right now, 44% increase year over year. Obviously we saw the data that you guys mentioned with RevPAR growing in Canada. See a lot of like the domestic travel to Canada from Canada. That I think could be driving portion of that. And I think it's because there's just so many great destinations in that country. And so again, as I mentioned, like Yuki is on our destinations of the year list. And it was one when I first saw it, I was like, all right, I've got to go check this place out. I've not heard of this yet. And I'm glad I did. It is definitely on my top 5 list for places I want to go next.
It's amazing. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Brandon. Canada is amazing. I've had the pleasure of going from PEI all the way to Victoria, so from east to west, and was talking with Beth McCannon, who's the president of the Hotel Association in Canada, and she said, talking about the performance and going back to the performance side, it's people have chosen Canada because some of the issues that we've seen in the environment, in the political environment, and they've just benefited from inbound and plus domestic travel. So they've got a very strong year. My wife and I were up in Toronto this, I guess summer. God, I remember what season we're in now. And we just loved it. She loved it. We had a great time, great food city. And also got to see, of course, we went for a concert, Brandon, of course. We're not just going for just go. So we saw.
I'm just going to read a book.
We saw Lady Gaga.
Man,
that's
nice.
She was amazing. So it was great. So, but again, I think Canada's a wonderful place, and again, the opportunity of traveled all over Canada, which has been great.
Brandon, when you first mentioned Yuki in the write-up, I was like, hey, where is that? So, okay, I know now you fly to Vancouver and then you somehow venture further out west. But I look at, you got Big Sky, you got Yuki, you got Hobart, Australia. These are all not right downtown locations. These are all a little bit off the beaten track. And they all have this green check mark saying, hey, we support tourism that's a little bit off the beaten track. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I think it's really important, right? There are so many fascinating places in the world. Like, I think Yuki is a great example. We all didn't have this top of mind awareness to where it was. We looked into it and we're like, okay, what an amazing place. And I think whether it's Hobart or Big Sky, that same kind of thread pulls through, right? There's a bit of escapism. And with that, what we're able to do with the Smart Travel Health Check is really validate that as we, promote tourism to this area, one, the destination can manage it without impacting the local population, but two, we're doing no harm to the environment. And I think that that's really was like kind of the push behind those check marks that you get for being in the Smart Travel Health Check program. But isn't it just fascinating that, and this is why I love my job, every day you can come across a destination or a property that you've never had any awareness to, and you're like, that is the next place I'm going. So with all of these lists and like the destination of the year list, I mean, here's the exercise that I would give the average family or person or partner, however you want to do this. Print out the list, print out all the hotels that are on the trends list, put it on the table, get a highlighter, make a pick. Go around the table with the family. We did this, and obviously I have a 5.5-year-old son. So salvage stays, which I don't think we're going to get into, is his big topic. Because who doesn't want to go stay in a reformed jail?
I mean,
right?
Hello.
Yeah. So I think the message really with like the destinations of the year and some of these like off the beaten path locales is there really are these like gems that need to be mined that we just don't know of or aren't as popular. And so I think if you're somebody who doesn't love crowds or you're just want to like truly get away, take a look at these destinations. I mean, clearly there is the infrastructure there to support a great trip already, and you can go and just experience a culture that maybe you've never experienced before.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Expedia, you have an ability and maybe responsibility, to sort of move the funnel and say, hey, everybody, look over here, look over there. Yeah. It doesn't have to be Barcelona yet again. Nothing against Barcelona, but I think that we've seen that. So what else should we see?
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a responsibility, right? Like we have a responsibility not just to help people find new destinations, but when we're sending people to these destinations, ensuring that we're not damaging, the ecosystem, the environment, or the local community.
Well, I think we touched on it a little bit already, but we're going to dive into sports tourism, which, just like all of the other trends in this report, I have some experience with too. It's resonating with me again. So Expedia Group is calling out local sports tourism specifically. So how is this different from, let's say, the World Cup, which is on every hotelier's mind for the next year?
I've heard that term a couple of times. It's come up in a couple of different conversations. People talking about this FIFA World Cup soccer tournament. I think
Germany all the way, by the way.
It's going to be a great tournament. I think we'll see. So this is a little different. I do have a trivia. Let's do a little trivia question. Jan, Isaac, Natalie, all welcome to answer. Annually, how much money is spent on sports tourism?
A lot is not a good answer, but
yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, billions and
billion
billions.
dollars.
More than that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
So by the year 2030, the expectation is it's going to be $1.3 trillion.
Yeah,
with a T.
Trillion.
And it's interesting. Sports tourism, I think when you think about this, you're like, oh, like I'm traveling to go see my team or I'm going to see the World Cup. And I think that the difference this year is like we're really starting to see more exploration into less popular sports, things where you're not traveling to see your team, you're traveling to experience maybe a different culture. So, and this runs the gamut, right? This is sumo wrestling in Japan. This is banana ball in Savannah, Georgia. This is curling, Jan, in Canada. It covers so many different facets. If you think about the psychology behind this, I think there's really two things that are kind of making this a trend. The first one is people are going to experience like a local culture, and what a great way to do it by doing it as part of like a local community sporting event. You're going to be with people who are there like-minded, right? Everyone who walks in the building is generally cheering for an outcome. It's a home game, generally cheering for the same outcome. I think that's part of it. The other piece is there's no better way to fully integrate yourself into the destination and the community than making friends at these events. And I'm sure we all have this story, right? So I was in Singapore 2 weeks ago. I went to the Formula One race when I was there, went by myself, never done that before. It was a unique experience as an adult. I made so many friends. To my right, there were people from Bristol in the UK. To my left, there were people from Hong Kong. Like, it was such a melting pot of different people all there for the same reason. It made it like super enjoyable to connect with. So talk to me about your guys' trips. Have we had any sports tourism, seen any cool events that maybe you wouldn't have seen otherwise?
Yeah, mine is also Formula One. So
nice.
It's a great sport to go check out. And
so Austin just happened.
Yeah, I have been to Austin, and now it's like a bucket list item to go to a race in another country for me, because Austin is great, but it is like kind of in my backyard. So yeah, I want to go somewhere and see a race. Singapore would be really nice.
It's a night race. Foo Fighters and Elton John were the musical acts. Isaac, I was thinking about you. I mean, that's a pretty strong bill after a Formula One race.
That was a strong bill.
So the sport that we literally just watched a week ago, if you want to call it a sport, I think it's going to be Olympic one of these days, was hot air ballooning. So we went to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to the Balloon Fiesta, the annual gathering of the most hot air balloons in the world, according to them. So there were 450 hot air balloons, and they do at night when the sun sets, they do this thing called a glow, where they just light them up. From the inside, and you just go around this field with, 15,000 of your best friends, and you just get really close and personal with these hot air balloons. They don't take off, they just sit there, but they're glowing from the inside. It is just a spectacular sight. And what was really fun is that each pilot has a little trading card of their balloon with their name on it, and they make them specifically for the Balloon Fiesta. And so our 7 and 9-year-olds just ran around and collected these trading cards from all the different balloon pilots, and we got to talk to them. It was just an awesome experience. So they would call it a sport. It is, literally a very, very, it takes a team effort, and it also takes the wind. But it was a really, really cool event.
I've actually heard about that. So I had not thought about this for 10 years. I was the revenue manager for Albuquerque when I worked at United Airlines. And this was like a super compressed event. And I'll tell you what, if you want to figure out what cool sporting events are happening, go ask a revenue manager at an airline, because they're going to understand exactly all of these popular events. And gosh, the hot air balloon one in Albuquerque is one that I would love to go to as well.
And my experiences have been more traditional sports, but going around various baseball stadiums around in the country, right? And catching the Cubs and doing the Cubby thing. Obviously, you've lived there, Brandon. So I've been there multiple times, but it never ceases to be just fun, right? Just because it's like you have to be at Wrigley, and especially a afternoon game at Wrigley on a beautiful fall. It's just gorgeous, right? Either spring day or fall day or even summer day. And then obviously Fenway and all the parks. So I've done that with friends. And again, it's again an experience. It's also just a way to connect on a totally different level. And just to relax. That's a relaxing thing for me.
Isaac, I've got a tip for you. The next time the Cubs are at home on the same weekend the Air and Water Show is, go on the Friday and they practice the Air and Water Show, and the pilots have some fun. So this time they did their normal show, and then as they were coming back around, they came like low level over the stadium, and the video of the Cubs dugout was hilarious.
That would be great.
Like jump out of their seats, because I mean these planes are just screaming over low, and it was this weird juxtaposition of like super loud like fighter jets and baseball, and people having a great summer afternoon.
That'd be great. I got to do that. I've had some great experiences at Wrigley. I have some good friends, and I've sat behind the dugout. I've been on rooftops, and it's just an amazing ballpark. Yeah, you can't go wrong. It's an amazing ballpark. If you haven't been there, listeners, you've got to go see a game, see the Cubs.
Yeah, well, Brandon, I think we've really tackled a lot of the trends and kind of proven Expedia's point throughout the process by each of our own experiences. I wonder if, to wrap up, we could talk about our favorite trends. I mean, whether or not we've talked about them already, I want to point out salvage stays, which you pointed out earlier, Brandon, because I think that is so cool. This is the trend of like really impressive architectural properties turned into hotels. And the Nashville example they gave in the report is the Union Station Nashville Yards, which I'm sure you guys know about. But there's also a prison turned hotel, like you mentioned, lots of banks converted into hotels. We have one of those in Houston too. So I think that's really interesting. Jan, Isaac, do y'all have what would you say your favorite trend is from this report?
Oh God, I don't know. I have a favorite trend. I kind of resonated with lots of trends, right? Mm-hmm. I do like unique hotels, and I'll never forget the old Kimpton Burnham Hotel in Chicago. That, I don't know what it is now. I should have looked it up. It is. I'm certain it's still a hotel, but what a beautiful architecture. It was just beautiful. I just thought everything about that hotel was just gorgeous at the time, and that was like in the early 2000s when it first converted to a Kimpton. I think that was a bank too, or some kind or an office. It was really awesome. So I like things like that. I like to be kind of dazzled. I was in the Union Station Hotel a week ago, and just every time you walk into that hotel and just the magnificence of it, because it was a train station, but it's just ornate. It's gorgeous. You cannot not look up, right? And you cannot not stop and stare, because you go, this is beautiful. And so I think that's the kind of stuff I enjoy. And I just, I've taken friends on walking tours of hotels before in both this city and in Las Vegas. So yeah, I think all that resonates with me, plus all the other trends we talked about.
I think after seeing our boys, harvesting potatoes and tomatoes and carrots, I think the farm charm piece, we'll have to do that again and get close to the animals, get close to the food that we will then eat. I thought that was a really sort of interesting experience for them, and hopefully something that they will continue to do and continue to treasure. We will continue to push them that way to get their hands dirty.
Thomas Keller does that for me. I let him do that. He picks the potatoes and gives it to me. I like Tom.
All right. Well, as we close out this episode, it's time for the fun part. Each of you are going to give me a symbolic metaphor, simile, word, song that describes the hotel industry right now. And Brandon, I know you came prepared. We will not make you go first, at least, but we're going to make you play along for sure. But Isaac, Jan, either of you want to kick it off?
So every time I'm listening to you, Brandon, and also when I listen to Jan, the word that comes to mind is dang. And so I go, dang, that's good. Dang, I agree with that. And so dang is my word. And the song is from Dang, Rainbow Kitten Surprise. Saw them in Austin a week ago. Great song.
I love that band
Rainbow
and that song.
Surprise.
RKS all the way.
Well, God, Jan, you have never heard of Rainbow Kitten. You've got to come over to my office and not talk data so much and listen to my podcast. Or
Isaac will
my
keep
music.
you young.
Yeah, it's like, but yeah, Dang is a great song. Glad, yeah, Natalie, they were really good. That was a great show.
I've seen them actually in in Austin performing too. I've seen them in Chicago too at Lollapalooza. They're incredible.
Yeah, that's why my voice is still real bad from Austin 2 weeks ago now, or a week ago, from all the dust.
All right, Jan.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. So my metaphor, my simile is actually from the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta, where on Friday morning, they were supposed to have an ascend into the sunrise, and they did not. So there was a lot of effort. And how does this relate to the hotel industry right now? You have a general manager, you have a crew, you work really, really, really hard, and the industry works really, really hard, and they do not achieve liftoff. We have 0% RevPAR growth. That's how I connect those two.
And again,
Jan,
dang.
that's impressive. That was
Dang,
impressive. Oh gosh, Natalie, is it my turn?
It is your turn. You've got
I
this.
don't know that I can top the trick or treating analogy from last time. But when I read through the trends, I get this, and I think about the hotel industry, I get this sense of like we're at the cultural campfire. It's a community of travel. We're looking to unplug a little bit more, maybe escape, but everyone who comes to a campfire is there for a different reason. So like, I'm not going to pull out the guitar and sing you guys Wonderwall. But if you were to go around the cultural campfire of the hotel industry, I think that you just kind of find people there for different reasons, but they're all looking to relax. They're all looking to get away from like the noise and the light of the day and to look for something that's going to help them find, home base, help them relax a little bit. So I'm going to go with the campfire.
I love that. I love that.
Great.
That is great. I think that is perfect for this. As always, thank you, Jan and Isaac, for your insight. And Brandon, thank you so much for joining us. Before we officially wrap up, I know you have a quick message to share with our listeners, right?
I got 3 things to tell you. First, I'm going to book same week next year for this podcast. I look forward to it as one of my favorite things to listen to when I'm not on it. I don't listen to it when I am on it, but I know everyone that listened to it last time loved it, and congrats on the award. Secondly, I want to tell you, if you're looking for the Unpack report, if you just Google Expedia Unpack, it will come up, or you go to Expedia.com or Hotels.com or Vrbo.com. It's obviously there. But lastly, for our hoteliers, I've got some new data and some new information for you. So we've just completed a study on rate leakage and misuse of rates. 98% of hoteliers are losing an average of $40,000 annually because of rate misuse and leakage. And Expedia Group has some ways for you to stop that. So feel free to visit our website, partner.expediagroup.com, where you can find Unpack and that amazing piece of research. Rate misuse is something that we should all be aware of. And obviously, Expedia Group can help you stop that and can have some solutions for you that make sure those rates are not misused and that bucket is not leaky. So thanks again for having me all. Again, I really appreciate, all 3 of you. And I hope Stephanie had a great vacation and she comes back to this awesome episode.
Brandon, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you, Brandon. And we have to have dinner next time I'm in Chicago.
Yes, please.
We got to do that.
Please, but we can't tell anyone. And Jan, I was going to mention this earlier. You still are a celebrity in this office. As I was coming in here, someone asked me if they could have your phone number. And I was like, 1,
Whoa.
I don't have it. And 2, no, I don't know what you're going to do with it. But your revenue management status in the industry is known. You're a celeb.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Brandon.
Cool.
And
All right,
Natalie,
see you guys
well
soon.
done. Thanks for hurting
Thank you,
the free
Natalie.
cat.
Yes.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you. Thank you,
thanks
Natalie.
for letting me co-host with y'all. Steph will be back for the next episode, and we'll see you then.
Hi, I'm Davon Reed.
I'm Omari Head.
And I'm Chris Henry.
We're the hosts of the Next Gen and Lodging podcast. It's a monthly show in which we interview a new generation of hoteliers to get their insights into a variety of disciplines and topics, from finance to food and beverage and hotel operations. Listen to us on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode of Tell Me More, a hospitality data podcast, was recorded on October 21st and was edited by Sean McCracken. Find all hotel industry news at costar.com/hotel news and subscribe to this and all CoStar News Hotels podcasts wherever you like to listen. Thank you.